All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is May 12th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan, lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Let's take a look at the markets today, see how I captured 3,100. Had a little dip in the market today. Take a review on everything we posted here. So let's take a peek at the market right now. On the 10-minute, got a 10-minute uptrend coming right into the close. Okay, nice little picture of money right here. 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. 2-hour chart is kind of rocky. Let's take a look at it over here on the 2-hour. And I'm going to call it bullish consolidation. Not quite an uptrend, not quite a downtrend. There's definitely no daylight between the two of those. So we're going to call it bullish consolidation on the 2-hour chart. Okay, can you see that? There's no daylight in there. So we'll take the daily candle. Lower high, lower low, closed over a bullish trap. Top of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish and in an uptrend on the daily candle. Weekly, same thing, bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly, same thing, bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. On the QQQ, start with the 10-minute. 10-minute uptrend, little picture of money going on right there. 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. On the 2-hour, we got ourselves a downtrend on the 2-hour. I do see some daylight between the 3 and the 8. Got the sticks plotting underneath the 3 here. So a little 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. Daily candle, lower high, lower low. Looks like we're going to close. Looks like we're going to close inside the bullish trap over the rising 17 here. Let's put the quad lines on there and measure that out. And that's going to be right here. Let me zoom out here. So let's take this and move them up to there. So obviously we're up here at quadrant 4. That's bullish and still in an uptrend. All right, no rest, just constant push on the technology sector there. Weekly candles or weekly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, so weekly, monthly, daily, bullish and an uptrend. 2-hour, got a little bit of daylight, so 2-hour downtrend. 10-minute was 10-minute uptrend. Obviously, we got some daylight here between the 3 and the 8. 10-minute uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM. Look at that on the daily chart. And on the daily chart, we're up here at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. Still in an uptrend on the daily chart. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow puts in outside day, higher high, lower low. Closed over a bullish trap, over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Top of quadrant 4, still bullish and in an uptrend on Diamond Dow. Has not made a lower low. Let's take a look at Stinker. Stinker puts in lower high, lower low. That's going to close on top of the bullish trap over the rising 17. That's the green dots right here. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Clearly in the bottom of quadrant 4. This is the all-time low, the all-time high. The all-time high anchored VWAP is the pink line. There's a higher low. We're looking for Stinker to make a higher high. Right now, price closing right here at the bottom of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish. It's in the upper third, so bullish and in an uptrend for FNGUs. Take a look at silver and gold. Okay, silver putting in outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still not quite in the upper third there, okay? I'm not going to give it to them. They got to earn it. Okay, so there's silver. Neutral and in an uptrend. We got a high here. We made a higher high. Neutral uptrend for silver. Okay, let's take a look at gold. Gold today, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17 EMA, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, still in the bottom of quadrant 4, bullish, still in a downtrend, has not made a higher high yet. Dysfunctional downtrend, hasn't been moving down, has actually been moving to the right or melting up a little bit. Let's take a look at USO. USO, higher high, higher low, closing over bullish cross, over the 17 at the top of quadrant 4 up here. That's going to be bullish, no lower lows, and in an uptrend for USO. Take a look at UNG. UNG, lower high, lower low, no surprise there. Closing inside the bullish trap over the 17 EMA. It is in an uptrend because they got a high here. They made a higher high. So they are bearish, but in an uptrend currently on UNG. And they are flirting with the lows down here. Okay, so that's UNG. Bearish, but in an uptrend. Okay. So let's take a look at inside the market here, and we'll look at the technicals that are driving the market. Start with T2101. Participation just inched up a little bit. All in all, participation, market breadth still weak. Okay, no bullish signs there. Okay, on T2122. Well, we spent the day. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. All right. We started out in the sell zone, and we kind of finished. Actually, we came and visited the sell zone first thing in the morning. Looks like we visited the sell zone first thing, and then we chopped our way back through the seller's chop zone. Still keep getting lower lows and lower highs. Bearish outlook when you see that happening. That's a downtrend, and you can see us spending most of our time underneath the gold line. That's the 50-yard line. Bulls control, bears control, obviously bearish control right there, T2122. That's a bearish outlook on the future. This is a bearish outlook on the future. This was a bullish outlook, and then they did this. They're under the 200, a little bit of a bearish outlook. We've got still making lower lows. Up here, see, we got a low, we made a lower low. Did we make higher high? No. So we're in a downtrend. We're under the rising 200 SMA. That's not where you want to be if you're a bull. You're at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, but the behavior is not, okay, in that we're giving up some of the high ground here. We get a little bearish gap down, and we never fill gap. That's not a good sign. Kind of bumped our head on the underside of that 200 SMA. Are we going to roll over? We'll find out later on. T2123 15-minute chart, bullish, but still in a downtrend. All right, 3-bar chart is still bullish and in an uptrend. We have not made lower lows. We're up over the rising 200 SMA. So that's bullish and in an uptrend for T2123 3-bar chart. Stinker is bearish gap down, so we never fill gap. All right, so price action comes down, hits the top side of the rising 200 and bounces. Did we make a higher high here? No, we did not. Did we make a lower low? And we have a low here. And we have a low here. We didn't quite make the lower low. And we sure as heck didn't make the higher high. So we left off. We were in an uptrend. So it stays in an uptrend until somebody flinches. All right. So up over the rising 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull. So there's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. Look at the dollar index. Still in that daily downtrend, okay? We haven't made any higher highs yet. So still in this big bear flag. Again, the fabric of the flag is twice as long as the flagpole. All right, so you can see right here we're still in this bear flag in a daily downtrend. Okay, so there's the dollar index. Let's take a look at what we had for, let's look at, I don't want to look at that one. That's today's guidance. I want to review yesterday's guidance, and I want to review, let's see if I can dig up yesterday's guidance. So let's take a look at downloads, and that's today's guidance. This is yesterday's. Let's take a look at that. Let's review that so you can see what we traded yesterday. Right. That's not the one. That's the one. Okay, so yesterday we in the pre-market we did observe some consolidation under prior consolidation, but as far as the move goes, it was still in the upper third, so that was still bullish, but it was a bearish outlook in that we did have consolidation under the prior consolidation. So yesterday, let's go with that. That was, one more time. Okay, so we were looking for a 10-minute or a 5-minute uptrend over 736. We chose to trade the 5-minute uptrend only because the first target was, right overhead. And, if you want to catch it, if you're on a 10-minute chart and like the first candle's $1.50 in height, all right, from top to bottom, you can see all that leaves is 50 cents left before you get to your first target. So when things like that happen, sometimes we use the 5-minute chart so we can get in on that green erases red. So let's move this off to the side for a second here, and let's pinch this down, and let's go to the chart, all right, and let's pick up, we don't need this, and let's pick up the 10-minute chart, actually the 5-minute chart for SPY. And I'm going to pan over to yesterday. All right, so right out of the gate, you see you got this big green candle right there that happens to be about $1.50 in height. Well, there was some pre-market activity that we broke over because we had consolidation under prior consolidation. So what we had was a green erases red entry over that pre-market activity, and we traded a 5-minute uptrend up to the prior all-time high, which happens to be right here, like 630. That's not what I wanted. Right here, which happened to be like 738.11. Okay, 738.11. Okay, that was our target. And you can see we went from the beginning, we went 0 to 60 in like 1 second, okay? Well, in 5 minutes, really. All right, we hit the target on the first candle. So we had a continuation of this 5-minute uptrend, so we stayed in it up to the call wall, which is written right here, okay, for the guidance for the day. And let's drag that over if we can. This thing is in the way. All right, so then we were going to head for the call wall, which happened to be 740 in the pre-market. So we look for 740. All right, and you can see price action rips. All right, with this, and it goes all the way up to, you can see 740.49. Okay, so if the call wall is 740, the target's going to be 739.50 on up to 740.50. Okay, so you can see we ripped all the way up there to 740.50 area, and then we took profit right there, and then from there we just sat on our hands for the rest of the day. So that was yesterday's guidance. Okay, so that was Monday. Okay, now we're gonna pop. You can see the guidance works, and it was to trade 10-minute downtrend below the post-market low, which was 732.50. And as you can see, where did this come from? That's not even yesterday's. We never got below 736. That actually was below 736, and we never got below 736. Not sure where that came from. Okay, so let's pick up today's guidance. Okay, so here's today's guidance. So in the pre-market, which I'm going to try to show you with this chart here on a 10-minute. Push that up. Actually on a 5-minute. All right, and here's this chart here. So in the pre-market, we had consolidation under consolidation. Again, same environment as we had yesterday. But this time it was a lot of space between the price action from the overnight and the price action from early this morning. All right, so we wanted to trade a break of the bottom of the pre-market range. Okay, so you can see where the range is right here. So we wanted to trade a break of those lows. Now I just look at the candle bodies. So we had a breakdown. So we traded this 10-minute downtrend below the bottom of those candle bodies. All right, all the way down to 731.80. We were looking for 731.55. Didn't quite get 731.55. Then we double bottomed, and then you can see price reversed. And then we have a 10-minute uptrend, picture of money right here, picture of money right there. Traded the 10-minute uptrend up into today's opening print. And we were looking for gap fill, all right, but the call wall was right there at 739, which means that when the call wall's there, the targets are going to be 739.50 to 738.50, okay? So you can see there was probably a slim chance of it getting the gap fill, being since the gamma exposure call wall was right at 739. So we traded this all the way back up to the upside to the gamma exposure call wall right there, which happened to be 739. Doesn't mean you're going to get 739. It's 739 plus or minus 50 cents. So you can see we got 738.50 would have been the first target, or the likely first target. All right, into the end of the day, you probably don't want to waste any time. If you get that 738.50, you probably want to just take your money right there. And of course, you see a wick forming, and you can see we got as high as 738.82 area right up there. So there's SPY on the 10-minute, 10-minute uptrend, 10-minute downtrend. Traded them both. All right, so that's how it was easy to capture. Traded this with puts and this with calls. Puts, calls right there. At the money, 0 and 1 DTE calls up here. 0 and 1 DTE puts right here. Okay, at the money. Like maybe at the money or a buck above. Okay, a buck away from at the money. All right, so that's how we traded for today and wound up capturing profits on both sides of VWAP. So nice day for me. And I saw a lot of other people got some goals as well. All right, so here we are in the room, okay? So if you want to see the guidance gets posted to the room, all right, long before market opens. All right, so you'll show you the guidance right there, posted, 9:14. It's actually posted long before that. This is 8:44. Okay, and this is probably some of the price action we had here. So I was long some futures and some shares for price to rip up over the base. And of course, you can see the bears came in and played whack-a-mole with my 10-minute candle up there. All right, and they just crushed it down. And of course, you see now the 10-minute downtrend which happens to take out the bottom of this base, all right, that 10-minute downtrend, and that's my entry right there, right underneath the bottom of this pre-market base. My target was gap fill. You can see I never got close to gap fill unless I would have held it all day long, which was not likely right there. All right, so any questions in the room? If there's no questions, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's take a look. He traded the 740 calls for Friday. Did okay. Would have taken the 1DT if I got caught the move off the bottom. Okay, yeah, I no worries. SOLS and just Q. SOLS and Q. Okay, let's take a look at daily candle. SOLS. Baseline breakout right there. First day holding over the base. Bullish and in an uptrend. Anything over to the left? No. Bullish and in an uptrend. I like it. Finishing the day at the high of the day, at the end of the day, that's bullish for tomorrow. So like that, bullish and in an uptrend. Right there. Q. Q is, well, that looks like an exhaustion candle. Okay. Might not be. I hope it's not. If you're in it, I hope it continues to keep going. But, you know, look at the last 50 candles. It's the biggest one, you know, on the chart at the end of the upward move, long upward move starting from December. I would definitely move my stop up to, I don't know, the bottom of that body or halfway through the candle height. I would not want to give that up. All right, so that's kind of exhaustion. Plus, you're far and away from, look at all the candles. How often do you get far and away from the 3 EMA? Not very often. All right, so that would be a great profit-taking spot when you're far and away from the 3 EMA. Maybe you get another candle tomorrow with some follow-through. Let's look at it on the 10-minute uptrend into the close. Finishing the day at the high of the day. Maybe you get some follow-through. Maybe take some profit tomorrow. If that thing gaps up, that would be sweet to take some profit on that if you got a gap up, because it's closing at the end of the day at the high of the day. So there's a good chance this 10-minute uptrend might have some continuation into tomorrow if it doesn't gap up. All right. If it gaps up, you'll probably start a 10-minute downtrend back to support. If it doesn't gap up, they'll probably get see all these tails forming right there, and price stops right on top of that. So that's looking good to go higher tomorrow. If it gaps up, you'll probably get a 10-minute downtrend back down to here. If it doesn't gap up, you'll probably get a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Right there on the 10-minute, you can see you got the picture of money, the ADMA rising up over the VWAP. Picture of money right there, beautiful. Starting a baseline breakout. Look at this consolidation all through here. And you can see there's your breakout, retest, and then rip right there. So my stop would be right underneath that. Right there. I think you get a pop tomorrow, or a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. That's looking good. Got the nice picture of money going, just commencing too. So nice consolidation breakout right there on Q. You've got another one, Robert. Well, he's got a list. He brought me the list. Okay. All right. AXTI MU. Okay. Back to the daily chart. AXTI. Bullish and in an uptrend, obviously, on the daily chart. Nice 3 candle hold up there. Anything over to the left? Nothing on the left. On the monthly chart, this is the biggest candle at the end. Weekly chart, not quite, showing kind of a doji. Daily chart, kind of a bullish hold right here, up over consolidation. So my stop would be underneath those tails, like 40 cents, 50 cents underneath those tails. Would not want to lose the support area. That's looking good. I like the hold. You might get a breakout. If you don't get one tomorrow, you might get one in the next 2 or 3 days. But that's near the all-time highs for it. Let's take a look at some other charts. And let's take a look at the 10. Do you have a picture of money? No, you kind of folded with the market today, and then you couldn't quite make the gap fill, just like the market. I wouldn't overread that. I would just kind of keep my stop at the bottom of those tails. Pick one of those and put your stop at the bottom of like 10 cents under the bottom of one of those tails. That's what I would do. All right, you got your own management plan, but wouldn't want to lose the support area right there. You can always jump back in it if it decides to rip, but that's looking like that's kind of looking like exhaustion right there. So we'll see. So I wouldn't want to lose. Again, that's another one like the other one there. I wouldn't want to lose any more than that amount right there. So you have a low, a high right there. Put the quad lines on there. So you can see that's the upper third. So I wouldn't want to lose the upper third from this high, from this low up to this high. So my stop would be either underneath that tail, or that tail right there. So I wouldn't want to lose that. And that's AXTI COHR. You got a breakout right here. You're holding the higher ground. You got the sword. The sword's pointed in the right direction. Notice the business end is down. So you're getting a whoop, probably a J hook off the support area. Like that. I like the 2-day hold. I like the finishing of the day, near the end of the day, almost near the highs. Right there. You didn't make a higher high, but you did make a higher low. You're holding up over the support line. Definitely would not want to lose the bottom of that candle right there. That's where my stop would go on that one. So that's bullish and in an uptrend, and I like that one. Anything over to the left? No, you're up at all-time highs. Okay. A lot of stuff showing signs of topping, Robert. All right, and just to let you know, I did post this earlier. I'm not sure if you got to take a look at it, but I want to share it with you and everybody. And that is this right here. All right. Okay, so note that the minor support is 695. And if you use the Fibonacci retracement tool and you go up from the bottom, all right, from the beginning of the rally to the top of the rally, okay, we're at the 382 right here. All right, so this would be the spot for a pullback to the minor support, leaving everything up here in the bullishes. Not to say that it can't travel higher, but this would be the likely spot for it to start a reversal or start a pullback to the minor support. You know me, I like it when price pulls back to minor support, J hooks off the top of the minor support, and then rips and makes a new all-time high, or a new higher high. That's my favorite. That's what I want to see stocks do that I want to buy. I want to see them pull back to minor support and then J hook off of it and make a higher high. As long as they continue to do that, they'll be, you know, in my memoirs. You know, I'll be watching those closely. Those are the ones that I like. Or if they can go up and hold the higher ground, that's another one. If they can get up there and hold that higher ground, that's a show of strength as well. But I like when they pull back to minor support, J hook, and go up after. So note that the Fibonacci retracement tool, 382 retracement, is at the 695 minor support level, which happens to be the prior all-time high for the SPY at the beginning of the year. All right, that is 2026 at the beginning of the year. Okay, so be on the lookout. Just stay and be prepared for a possible trip back to the minor support area. We'll see. All right. Just remember, they didn't put any foundation. They didn't put in a string of stairs. They didn't do anything. Okay, so the descent could be faster than the rise, which happens to be fast and furious. All right, so the descent could be even faster. So be careful up there on that one. Back down here, did I go off? All right, I'm back. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me and see me? Yes? All right. So I'll go back and review what I just did. Okay, so I don't know if you got to see this right here. This is the prior all-time high, 695. All right, and then we had a pullback, and then we ripped and made a new all-time high. Okay, so notice that the 695, all right, is the minor support, and we are exactly 38.2. That's a Fibonacci retracement level away from the minor support. So you could see a pullback. I'm not promising a pullback. I don't know that we're going to get a pullback. We are still bullish in the market. I'm just saying that if it doesn't happen here, it's probably looking good to happen at the 50% mark. As soon as the 50% mark gets up to the 695. All right, so I'm just saying be careful out there. I don't know if you guys saw the CPI was 3.9, which is not a very good number, especially for the Fed. Their target is like closer to 2.2 or 2.5, so that's like way out of line. And of course, a lot of it's going to be due to oil. But you know, if oil prices stay long for too long, you know, management has to factor in the new cost of energy, and that's going to cause prices to increase again. So you could get another round of inflation causing new and improved higher earnings. All right, so we'll see what happens. But right now, CPI, you know, 3.9, I think 3.6 or 3.9. So we could get a harsh pullback based on CPI. All right, we'll see what happens. But you can see I'm using the fib retracement. I'm going from the bottom up to the top of the rally. And notice on this rally, they did not put any foundation. There's no string of stairs. They just kind of hoverboarded all the way up there. Okay, there's nothing there to catch price until you get to here. That's where the minor support is. All right, so nothing to catch price if it begins to fall. And the ascent up here was fast and furious, so the descent could be even faster on the way down. So be careful. All right, I'm just saying we're at the 382 right now. Okay, so I just want you guys to recognize that. All right, you want to look at, yeah, CPI not good. Yep. And you had some others. We did, I think we just did AXTI. We're doing KOHR again. That one's good. Bullish in an uptrend. Stop under the bottom of that big green candle. All right. Again, that's like one of the biggest green candles at the end of the move. It could be a top right there. So be careful on that. MU. Okay, now MU and I think KOHR. MU is kind of like the tip of the spear. All right, so it's part of that AI components or necessities. So MU looking good. Obviously, a new all-time high, not today, but yesterday. But look at the candle. Okay, you got the doji. All right, and then you've got a hammer. All right, so just saying, and you're at the big fat whole round number. You've got two candles and a number here, which kind of say like this might be the top. I'm not calling it the top, but I mean that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candle move up there. That might be the top. All right, not saying it's the top, but it sure looks like a top. Okay, so I don't know if I continue chase. That's kind of hot. I wouldn't chase that. I would wait for a pullback. So for that one, if you've got some, all right, and you took some profits, and if you had anything left, I would kind of tighten up my stop on that one because that does look with that doji at the end there. Okay, see this one we got a green hammer, but this one is a red hammer. Okay, so tighten up on that one, and I wouldn't go chasing it. All right, it's just too high. All right, you can see for the month of April they went from 460 to 800. That's kind of like SpaceX, Elon, kind of rising right there, straight up, vertical. So be careful. I wouldn't chase that one. I like it. I think it's on fire, and I would let it cool off some. And I'm saying that looks like a top right there. All right. Yeah, very extended from moving averages as well. Okay. Not to say that it can't go any higher. It might go to 1,000. I don't know. But that was, in 2 months, they went from 460 up to 820 or 820 area right there. So don't go chasing it. I would wait for a nice setup that you can make some money with. So that's MU. Obviously bullish in an uptrend, making new all-time highs. Hard not to be bullish in an uptrend. Let's see what else we got. Q reported earnings today. Okay. Q reported earnings. All right, so that's nice. I guess they did good on the earnings, and they finished the day at the end of the day at the high of the day. And what did we talk about? Oh yeah, the uptrend. Yeah, if you again the gap up, take profit if you got some. If not, don't gap up. Trade the continuation of the 10-minute uptrend, right there on Q. Even though they reported today, look at this. They were in a downtrend at one time underneath VWAP, and then they started this. So this may run for 4 hours. So this may run for about an hour or two, maybe even all day tomorrow on Q. You got another one here, KOHR AXTI on the daily chart. Yeah, we did this one. This was that 3 candle hold up over the support line. Again, the stop for me would be underneath one of these tails right here. That one's kind of extended as well. Okay, way up there. Next one is PPI is tomorrow. BW. BW is getting the breakout right here. Okay, I like that they close in at the end of the day, at the high of the day. That's looking good. They're up over the base. That's breaking through resistance. I would like to see it hold up there right now. If it holds, that would be a candidate to continue the rise. Had some nice show of strength right here, but never did a breakout. And that's strange that with all those days holding up there, it never performed a breakout. See right there, all of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we kind of melted back, found some support, and then ripped up here. Now we're finally breaking through after pulling back. That was a long pullback. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 days, 3 weeks of pullback before finally releasing the arrow to break through the glass ceiling up here. It's another one. Be careful with that one. I think it holds. You were showing a bearish head and shoulders at one time. Look at that. Okay, see that? That'd be the head, left shoulder, and that was going to be the right shoulder. But then the bulls came in and decapitated the whole head and shoulders pattern by taking out the head. All right, they decapitated the head, so there was going to be no head and shoulders pattern. So that's a great sign right there. So I would look for this to hold. Try to find the lows of those candles, and I think you got another rise up even higher. All right, if the market can help you out with that. Take a look at Intel. All right. Okay, biggest candle at the end of the move. Okay. This would be another piece of the tip of the spear. All right, so all the way up here in a 130. All right, so that's probably the end of the move for that one. Let's take a look at AMD. That looks like a top. Okay, I'm just saying that looks like a top. It's not bearish, but it looks like a top. And you got, you see, you got the sword a little bit. The hilt's kind of thick. Sword's pointed in the wrong direction though, but watch out. That looks like might be kind of rolling over. Got the red hammer again. Got a red hammer here, and where else? Somebody else gave us a red hammer. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. Yeah, MU gave us the red hammer. Okay, so watch those ones with the red hammer. Okay, they're probably in their tops. They need to take out those highs. Watch those ones with the red hammers. All right, so that's that. Let's take a look at AMD. Okay, AMD. Another one with the cross. Almost the makings of a red hammer right here. All right, so another sign of a top right here. Not saying that is the top, just saying. Look at that. You can stack each one of these candles right on top of each other. And that looks like a move right there. All right, so maybe a little bit more on this one. That's looking like it's making a top as well. So I'm just saying this tip of the spear may be coming to an end here. So be careful. It is still bullish. I'm not calling it a top. I'm just saying it looks like a top. So be careful and remember that that chart I just showed you where the 382, all right, is right now we're at that measurement. Okay? Minor support 695, 382. We are 38. This is the 382 Fibonacci retracement right here, right now. Okay? They didn't put any foundation in. Okay? So the descent could be faster than the rise. So be careful. QCOM topping. It's another one. Yeah. Okay. We're not calling it tops, but we sure looks like a top to me. I agree with you. Now they could pull back to minor support, which you see they did here. And here. They could be able to find support and bull flag out. I think they got a little bit more room to go for QCOM. They just started too late. Look at the whole year of 2026. They spent most of the year going down. It wasn't until April 1st, right there, that we started to finally melt up. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful evening.